Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got a huge one. The epilogue chapter of My Hero Academia has just dropped, and we're going to dive deep into this chapter. I mean super deep as you can go. Safe to say, spoilers for the ending of My Hero Academia, you know, kind of obvious. We're going to do things a little untraditional like we always do. Fun, passionate, and just the right amount of overanalysis with just a sprinkle of a quarter-life crisis. Hopefully this channel lasts long enough to see my midlife crisis, and if you like to see that, don't forget to hit subscribe. Let's break down this chapter beat by beat, because trust me, there's a lot to unpack here. From emotional closure to some long-awaited development, Horikoshi definitely gave us something special here. And let me just say, it's a lot better than the original ending. Like, I really enjoyed this. Cough, cough, JFK, I mean JJK. I meant to say JJK, not JFK. Well, I guess both their endings weren't great. For context, My Hero Academia officially ended earlier this year with chapter 430, which gave us a time skip that was satisfying but left a lot of loose threads. Fast forward to now, the epilogue chapter titled More was released in volume 42 as a bonus for fans, which is weird because I thought the last few chapters were supposed to be the epilogue, but you know, publishers gotta make money somehow, I guess. But don't be surprised, in a few months we get another chapter titled post epilogue. This chapter takes place a little bit after the ending of My Hero Academia, where everyone is grown up and being heroes, including Midoriya with his new super suit. Just a heads up before we go any further, this chapter isn't just a feel-good story. This chapter does expand the world of MHA and brings into question the future of Hero Society. Like, for example, how the hero rankings have completely changed and that it no longer focuses too much on strength. Some notable ones I really want to point out is Phantom Thief at number 10, Tentacool at number 9, Shoto at number 2, and our boy Lemillion at number 1. Now you might be asking, why isn't Bakugo in the top 10? Well, that's because he's Bakugo, and we love him for it, but he is a menace to society. Comment down below what your top 10 hero rankings would be. When it comes to characters, we have to talk about Ochako, because let's face it, this chapter is as much about her as it is about Deku. Ochako's arc has always been rooted in internal conflict, balancing her role as a hero with her feelings towards Deku. This chapter picks up with her reflecting on her past, specifically her connection with Toga. Now here's where things get really interesting. Ochako has been having reoccurring dreams about Toga. She's haunted by their final encounter and the emotional and physical bond they share. She theorizes that this has to do with the blood transfusion they shared, which kind of makes sense because we do have examples of this. Based on what we've seen throughout the series with All for One and One for All and Stars and Stripes and a couple other examples, it feels like a person's quirk or DNA is somehow tied to their soul. It's also entirely possible that I'm taking this way too literally, and this is just to symbolize Ochako's current psyche. Remember, Ochako was the first hero to fully actually empathize with a villain like Toga. These dreams, they're symbolic of Ochako's lingering guilt and her need to process what it really means to save someone. In the climax of this chapter, Ochako has one last dream of Toga, who tells her to live her life to the fullest and to embrace her own feelings and to stop holding herself back. What I think Horikoshi is trying to say is that you are more than just your job or your goals. You are a complete person that should make time for themselves once in a while. The reason why Deku and Ochako don't get together earlier is because, well, one, you need a will they, won't they throughout the series, and two, they're so worried about everyone else they don't think about their own happiness. This isn't about romantic love. This is about Ochako's journey towards self-acceptance. Horikoshi absolutely nails this resolution, giving us one of the most heartfelt moments in the entire series. Next, let's talk about Deku. One of the standout moments in this chapter is how Deku finally starts understanding himself on a deeper level. Throughout the series, Deku has been laser focused on his hero work, often at the expense of his own feelings and personal life. in this epilogue, we see a more reflective Deku. During a Class 1A reunion party, Bakugo, yes, Bakugo, gives him some much needed advice. Bakugo points out while Deku's ability to care for everyone is his greatest strength, it's also created a blind spot for himself. He's so focused on saving people that he ignores his own emotions, particularly his ones towards Ochako. This advice finally clicks and Deku has a major epiphany. He realizes that his admiration for Ochako has always been more than just respect, it's love. This realization is huge for Deku's character growth. For the first time, he's making space for something outside of being a hero. This is Deku learning how to live, not just trying to figure out how to save someone. Now let's get to the moment that had fans screaming, the Deku Ochako confession. After the party, Deku chases after Ochako to confess his feelings. This scene is so pure Horikoshi, emotional, raw, and just so satisfying. Deku, who spent his entire life putting others first, finally puts himself out there. He tells Ochako that he wants to spend more time with her, that he values her not just as a hero, but as a person. And Ochako, she confesses right back. For her, this isn't just about reciprocating Deku's feelings. It's about allowing herself to be happy, to do something for herself. She spent so much time suppressing her emotions for the sake of her hero work, and now she's choosing to live authentically. This mutual confession is the perfect culmination of their arcs. Horikoshi does a great job at making this chapter about growth, healing, and embracing one's life outside of work. That's amazing to be able to put all that in the final chapter of your series. And honestly, I would put final chapter in quotes because this feels like a shorter version of Naruto the Last. Oh yeah, and let's not forget about Toga's influence on this scene. Ochako's decision to embrace love can be seen as a tribute to what she learned from their last encounter. Horikoshi really ties everything together just beautifully. Even though Ochako's and Deku's relationship definitely steals the show, the chapter also gives us a glimpse into the broader state of hero society. Deku and his classmates are stepping into leadership roles, mentoring the next generation of heroes. This idea of passing the torch is a reoccurring theme in My Hero Academia, and it's front and center here. Deku in particular is still taking a more mentorship-like role, guiding younger heroes while still being a hero himself. He goes as far as saying that even if he still had One for All, he still would want to be teaching, showing that teaching wasn't just a consolation prize for him. And we know he really means this because even though he has a suit that's stronger than the one All Might had when he fought All for One, he's still choosing to teach for the most part with only a little bit of hero work on the side. There's also a subtle acknowledgement throughout the chapter that hero society will never be perfect, but it is evolving, thanks in part to the lessons they learned from Shigaraki and Toga. Now, we can't talk about this chapter without addressing the elephant in the room. Could this set up a sequel or spin-off? While nothing has been confirmed, there's definitely seeds planted here. The mentorship angle, the lingering social challenges, the focus on the new hero society, all of these could serve as a foundation of a new series. The epilogue chapter titled More is everything we could have hoped for and more. It's emotional, introspective, and leaves the door open for the future while providing closure for the present. Not gonna lie, this chapter really got to me. When My Hero Academia originally ended, I didn't really feel anything. It just felt like another manga was ending. But this chapter made me feel really sad because I realized that this might be the last time I see any of these characters. And I do think we get a sequel series or something, but there's no guarantee that these characters will be the focus point. Horikoshi managed to strike a perfect balance between nostalgia and progress, giving us a fitting farewell to Class 1A. The Deku Ochako romance, worth the wait, and the glimpse of a rebuilding hero society, absolutely inspiring. This chapter isn't just a love letter to the fans, it's a celebration of everything My Hero Academia stands for: hope, perseverance, and the power of connection. But what did you guys think about the chapter? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? What are some of your theories? Comment down below what your thoughts are, and don't forget to subscribe. See you all next time, my fellow shinobi.